two questions about today's event. The first question is, how do you feel about this event? Do you think it's an important event for Ottawa, for Ukrainian community, for the world perception of guys on in Ukraine? Do you think it's something what Canadian diaspora was waiting for, like Ukrainian Canadian diaspora? And the second question is your perception of this film itself. So did it change somehow what you think about Maidan, or it was like exactly what you feel about it? Just a couple words about this issue. Thank you.
Great. The first question requires a long answer. I think the whole idea of the festival is great. If you live in Ottawa, you know that there are a whole series of national film festivals run by the Ottawa Film Festival and other groups. They're very popular. People like them. And I certainly enjoyed this one. I certainly plan to come to future ones. I would think there's a whole new range of Ukrainian filmmakers coming out. The Ukrainian Ottawa population would be interested, but the Ottawa population would be interested in contemporary Canadian film. There's a whole group here who would be interested in it. So yes, I think it's a good festival. I think it's a good idea. Publicizing it to get to the film public is the difficult part of it. I think the other element of this film, I think its strength was that there have been films about the Maidan. There are general ones based on news and so forth, very effective, emotional ones. But this one is really good because it starts before the Maidan, it takes it past the Maidan, and it tells the story of Maidan through the story of individuals, which I think is a much more powerful way of telling it. And it pulls the viewers into the film itself.
Thank you so much. That's a great answer. Thank you.
Okay.
About the event, is it important? Is it need to be conducted in Canada, in Ottawa in particular? And also about your feelings about Maidan and what's going on in Ukraine? And did this particular film change something in your perception of what's going on?
I was really happy to bring both my sons to tonight's events because living here in Canada, they don't really have a chance to feel the events that happen in Ukraine. We see them on the movies, but when we see real life stories like the ones presented on this movie, I think they, our sons and myself, had a chance to feel the emotions much more authentically. So yes, these events and these kinds of movie presentations I think are very important for anyone. Because after all, what happened in Maidan is a human life story. It's not just important to Ukrainians. I think it is important to anyone who believes in democracy and believes in people making a better life for themselves. There are a couple of moments in the movie that I found particularly touching and that I asked the presenters about at the end. And one of them in particular, that was the moment when Yulia was talking to her grandparents. Those grandparents who did not believe that she was herself when she made that recording on Maidan, and who felt that their granddaughter was put up to it. That must have been a very hurtful, painful moment for Yulia. Because she loves her grandparents very much, this is evident in the movie. They love her very much. And yet, why is it that her grandparents could not quite believe her? But she's told us at the end of the movie that there was a certain breakthrough recently where her grandparents finally did believe her. She was speaking from her heart. She was speaking truthfully. And I found that very touching, and I'm very glad to have heard both the story in the movie and the resolution that happened after the movie was recorded, that her grandparents came around and believed in her and their granddaughter in the story.
Thank you so much for your answer.
But the documentary is something that is usually unbiased. It's something that cannot be constructed. It can be interpreted, but it cannot be constructed like a fiction film or a fiction movie. And that's why I had this idea that we definitely need to attract people to watch these films with us and to understand why this happened in Ukraine, what were the consequences, and why Ukraine goes through these times as now. And regarding this particular film that we had a chance to watch tonight, I think it is very important that this film was about the personal stories, because something personal can open more sincerely to the wider public. And there were a few moments that everybody, I think, could share and could understand what the characters were saying about how they combined the bitterness and hope at the same time, how they were saying that they became proud of their people. Not proud in terms of superiority, but proud in terms of sharing the same values with the rest of people. And these values were true, and these values were righteous. Like being honest, striving to the honesty, striving to the building the honest system in the society, open, discovering in a big group of people, in a nation, if I can say that, features, traits of the personalities that maybe we didn't even think about before. Huge potential for being generous and for being very supportive, and being volunteering our energy and our thoughts and our resources. That was a huge movement in Ukraine, when no one was seeking a credit, no one was claiming to found this movement, but everybody was contributing as much as possible. And it was important when, I think it was Yulia Marushevska who said in the film that she got this idea that whenever everybody believed in something truthful, in something honest, that person became Ukrainian. Of course, that was not true, but the symbol of Ukrainians who were striving for these values really became popular, and many people really became contagious with these ideas. That was even dangerous for some people, and some people, because of getting these ideas, risked their lives and even became political prisoners. We will talk about this later on during our festival, but that was the fact. Thank you so much. Thank you too.